Hello, everybody, and welcome to Keeping It Spiritually Simple. And again, we're having guests on that are just ordinary, everyday people experiencing extraordinary things, trying to incorporate those extraordinary things into their ordinary life, which is not so ordinary in the climate that we have now. So as each and every one of us who are on the train to knowing more, we're figuring out things between our relationship with self, with the universe, with our home, with partners, with kids. And today I have Morgan, Lee, and Todd, and they are married and then going through their own ascension stuff and then living on different continents and still trying to have an amazing relationship. So welcome, you two.
Thank you.
So how on earth do you all do it? Because I'm not in relationship as in another party. And I'm just finding every day walking with spirit and trying to listen and keep up with everything else and make a living. It's tough. But how do you do all that and then still maintain a healthy relationship? Tag, one of you.
Ladies first.
Good man.
I really don't know. I mean, we communicate nearly every single morning. I mean, occasionally we're out of alignment. We'll just say, okay, we've got nothing to say to each other. We'll have a few days off. But we're in constant communication. We speak at minimum every morning and every evening. Yeah, I don't know. I think that helps a lot. It's been a really heavy few days. I'm actually really flat myself at the moment. So when you're in that flat state, it's really hard to think of all the positive ways that you do that. But, you know, I'm going to say the bottom line is that no matter what happens, we always come back to loving each other, even if we have a few days off. I don't know, there's just something about us that we just come back to loving each other. We know that the humans have been through something and will come back, but most of the time it's just constant and regular communication. We've got practices and practices that we do that keep us aligned as well. But yeah, I don't know, just that.
Todd?
Okay. I don't know either. I think it's a lot like the individual journey. You don't know. The more you think you know, the less you do. And I have a saying, it is what it is today. So that's just my way of saying, you know, you wake up, you do the best you can, and you try to smile. You know, I try to stay in a funny mood or a happy mood as best I can. But, you know, that's not easy to, even for an individual.
Yeah.
It's not, like you were saying earlier, but I do little things. I do affirmations in regard to our relationship. I do little exercises every night when I go to bed. I speak to her. I hold her. I declare things. I surrender. Just a lot of different things. But I think every day's fresh and new, and I just try to be open as possible to not just the light but the dark.
Sure. Well, I think, you know, developing intimacy with someone is knowing all of those angles of each other. And I think if you're on a frequency of we've maybe been together on other lifetimes and you have mutual respect for yourself as in your general constitution, you can have that in relationships, but there's a give or a take in that. And Morgan, to go to your thing about being flat, I call it flatlined. And I think with the energies right now, we're all feeling something we can't quite explain. So for me, it's like I can see my guides doing their thing. I can see movement in the sky in my room. I feel it in my body, but then I feel it's Groundhog Day. And there's times where there's just not a lot of words to even explain what you were feeling, or put it into the vocabulary in which we might have in our brain. But that even of itself is tough to have relationship with just the whole universe. I know for me, just recently today, it's been very frustrating. And I don't have much of a temper, but felt agitated. Like I was really tired of stupid people. Like literally, I was like, I have no time for stupid people. And I thought, wow, Sandy, where'd that come from? And it's like, you'll talk to people and a conversation will come up, and then you get this blank stare. And then something stupid comes out of their mouth, like, oh, the world's changing. You're like, what was that? So I get the flatline thing. It's hard to come up with just, I don't know. I think I can't get into any one belief system. I came in with a big family and very religious family, but I knew very early on that none of that was true. And so I myself go through listening to like your show, Todd, and other people that do things. And I think, okay, well, I don't know anything about that. But instead of going, oh, that's horrible, that's wrong, I have to say, okay, well, let's be open to that. Let's explore that a little bit. But I don't have to claim it as my own, because I've learned early on, I know what I know, and what I don't know, I admit I don't know. And I would never call myself a dumbass, although I do dumbass things. But that humor keeps me going. But how are you all feeling about the climate right now, just in the last couple, let's just say 2 weeks, energetically?
For me, the last 2 weeks has just been horrendous, like absolutely horrendous. And every time I can't even taste food at the moment. My whole taste is gone. I don't have COVID, but all the things that I thought that I might like, or that, will not distract me, but, bring me some joy. Like there's no attachment, there's no connection to even any of those things. It's a really difficult period at the moment. And it's interesting because all the emotions, all the feelings are there, but there's not really any stories to attach to. And I keep coming back to nothing. Like every time something might trigger me, grab my attention or whatever, and I start going into it, it sort of fizzles out to nothing. There is nothing at the moment. I'm very lucky. I'm house sitting. I'm looking after a little dog. And I have to make sure that little dog's needs are met. But other than that, I'm not there for myself for anything. I honestly believed when you rang and booked this, when you connected and asked to book this session, I believed that, okay, this must be the turning point, because I'm not a fan of doing lives at all. I'll only really do them if my higher self comes in and says, okay, this has to be spoken about. But there's just nothing at the moment. And I almost, it feels like we're going through a very heavy and strong death. And it's very hard on the human to become connected, to allow yourself to be connected to anything or anyone. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm at the moment.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Except for I ate a piece of cake thinking I could rousel up my taste buds. And even then it was like, why did I just do that? How about you, Todd? I mean, I know you're in the States and you're in a state. What is your state of mind, your mental hygiene?
Well, really, I just think that it's really this right here. It's just being present. I don't think it's something I personally don't have to work at it as hard. I'm sure a lot of people can say that. It doesn't mean that it's not challenging. Things aren't changing constantly. I'm kind of in between a space of what got us here, and I mean all of us, on a personal level. What got us here? What are we pulling down? What are we transmitting, channeling, downloading? What are we doing creatively? And I'm between that space and a space of what's the point? It's already been done. If none of this is real out here, then what am I doing? Right? Like, what's going on? So I spend a lot of time speaking to the you, me, we, and it. And that's always been there, but it's become more of a routine or a ritual when I go to bed at night, along with connected with Morgan, and just asking for more clarity and guidance, and not from a small place, from a big place. And I'm not demanding anything, but I'm commanding answers, and I want answers, and I have the right to the answers. So I'm just in that space, and it's a new space. It's a wiggly space, and I think the main thing is, I think if you just take into account like what Morgan said about the relationship, I think that applies everywhere. You just return to that space to the best of your ability. I return to love, whatever it is. I had an incident yesterday. I don't have too many volatile moments anymore. Like a lot of people, those things are kind of diminishing. But I went to the donut shop, which I've gone to many, many times, and I had I got accused of something, and it really set me off. And I told the lady to go F herself, and I walked out, not attached to the lady and her accusations, but attached to myself. And I quickly went into forgiveness and compassion. Those are to me, the biggest tools right now, or for me, is forgiveness, even though I never really spent a lot of time with the word. Not that I didn't go there, but I kind of moved past it, I guess. And I don't mean to sound like a spiritual, whatever, but it's come back, and it's probably not the exact word, but it's a place where you return to love. And I think the other big thing is gratitude, because I only know I'm here. I don't actually know I live anywhere else. I don't actually know that I had a past life. I don't actually know that I'm multidimensional. I mean, we've all downloaded and channeled and transmitted things and shared things, but how the hell do you really know?
Exactly.
So all I really know is what I have in my life. And so I spend my time focused on those things, which is really Morgan and SOULOGY. That's really it for the most part.
And I think it's refreshing to hear really honest feedback, because lots of times these types of shows, people say what they think somebody else might want to hear. But the fact is, we're in the gravel, we're in the raw gravel of certain things. And unless I personally see it, experience it, and feel it, although I have had past life regression since the 90s, and that some things did come up, but they made total sense to me. And it was like, okay, great. Now that I know that, let's keep going. Do I have lives on other planets? I not that I'm aware of. And until that all comes together, I don't know about it. Have I been to other places in my dream state and met beings I don't recognize? Yes. Do I see things with my sight of beings I don't recognize, but I feel comfortable with? Yes. But I can't go out until tomorrow comes. I have to focus on today and where today is. And I think I'm hearing you guys say the exact same thing, except for right now, Morgan's more frustrated because it's like, yeah, well, okay. Because I do the same thing lately. It's like, WTF, what the hell am I doing? I mean, I got to get busy doing something. And it's like, I go that way and it's like, turn around, that's a dead end, go back this way. I ask for answers, and command them because I feel like I deserve them. And I say, are they actually coming? And maybe I'm not translating them in the way I understand them. Maybe my monkey mind is asking for them in a trivial way, or in this way, or a way that has conditions on it. But, even at night, I started watching television again on my computer, but my whole room can be filled with orbs and beings. And I'll pause the thing and I'll go, okay, so what's up? What do you want to tell me? And they'll just fly around, sparkle, and I'll recognize some. And then I'm like, okay, that's enough. If you really want me to know something, you'll let me know something. In the meantime, I'm going to go back and watch this show. So I think many people are feeling this way, but they're kind of glossing over it and maybe not talking about how empty it can actually feel in this moment. And I don't know about you guys, but that's sort of where I am. And it sounds like we have a little bit of a wave of sort of feeling a little bit the same way, that just we need something more than Groundhog Day. And it's like, enough. You just want to scream, but what's that going to do? Blow my vocal cord? Please. What's that going to do? I can't snap at other people because they're innocent. I too had an experience today and walked into a store I was supposed to work in. I do cosmetic sales part-time. And the manager just looked up and I was like, hi. And because I'm always very happy and cordial person. And she's like, what are you doing here? Like, well, I'm on my schedule. Well, basically it was the way her attitude was. I just stopped in my tracks, took a nice deep breath. What I wanted to say, I decided it was better I didn't say it. And I just said, well, it sounds like you weren't expecting me today. So I'm just going to pull a little U-turn and head out the door, which I did. And then I called my direct manager and I just said, well, she's, well, make sure you get paid for today. And I said, well, I like that. But, it was her deal, not mine, but it was a lesson for me on how to compose myself in the middle of what could have been heated. Does that make sense? And I just choose, not to really argue with people unless there's something really important to argue with, because what's the point of arguing? Especially if I honestly don't care about what it is that they're trying to make their point with. Now, are you feeling like Groundhog Day might end soon? Or maybe some sparkles of light might come in with more of us to know, or what do y'all think?
First, I'm not really sure what Groundhog Day means. And Todd's been using that term, and I said to him the other day, what is that? What does that mean? I know he explained to me, but I don't really understand it. But I guess it's like heaviness, like this constant, for me, I feel like, from the middle of November, 11/11, thereabouts, this started. And I think I've had about 6 really like great days, like, oh God, thank goodness this is over,
right,
in the last couple of months. But it's just been this constant dealing with this heaviness. It's interesting because on one hand, it's personal, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't be experiencing it. But on the other hand, that you're working for the collective. My mind hasn't been able to go to stories, like is this specific thing. Every now and again I get triggered. Like I got triggered yesterday, but come very quickly out of it. And I said to Todd, it feels like what we're doing is we're actually clearing this really, really dense energy at the moment, the very energy that's been the foundation that's been holding up that patriarchal stuff that we're looking at, the authoritarian and all that sort of stuff. On one hand, it feels like we're very much doing that. And on the other hand, it really feels like we're dying to the self. It's giving us tests or experiences all day, every day for discernment or judgment, or, to get out of the judgment of things and really clarify, what do I want to be part of? What do I want to put my energy into? What do I want to stay away from? But it is, and I said to Todd, I think it was yesterday, like, it's enough. I just want to yell out to whoever's listening, like, this is so hard on the human to go through so many weeks of waking up every day, not even wanting to get out of bed. You can't taste any food. You're not motivated to do anything at all. All of my normal things like crocheting or doing mandalas or whatever, I've got zero interest in it. It's a really weird energy at the moment. And then there's another part of me absolutely knowing that all this hard work that we're doing is leading up to something really, really great.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Now, Groundhog Day is actually a movie, and Groundhog Day is when you end the day and then you get up and everything's exactly the same the next day. There's no difference. So that's basically what the expression of Groundhog Day means. And there's a movie on it. I've been going through that exact same thing you're talking about for a few months now. And at Christmas time, I realized that, the way I work with people and with myself is I'm here on a mission to commune with spirit. At least that's what I feel like I'm being told. And I've done my work. I spend money on healers. I take courses. I do this, I do that. And I'm supposed to be at a certain place so that all my contractees can meet me, right? And then we go off into this new tribal way of doing things. And I feel like I got to the intersection way before everybody else did. And at first I got a little pissed, and then I had to learn patience. And then I had to realize, well, what was the purpose of me getting here first? It's kind of like that person in the classroom that always finishes their test first. And it usually annoys the other people around still taking the test. And then you realize that person can't do anything until everyone's done their test. So what was the point of, hurrying through the test? So I often ask myself recently is, why am I in a hurry? Like, why everything's supposed to be dying off, but why am I in a hurry to sort of reinvent something that's exciting? Why can't I just be in the funk, so to speak? I think because it's uncomfortable for me. I don't know about you guys.
There's such an extreme in a good day and the funk at the moment. Like when you're in the funk, you're really in the funk. It almost feels like all the power's being pulled out. All the work that you've done is no longer existent. You're in such a human 3D funk that you can almost not even remember the 2 great days, that I had earlier this week, where all the intel was pouring in again and I felt alive and I wanted to get up and do things and I cooked and did all of that sort of stuff. The funk's so heavy that you barely even remember that, the good that exists at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How about you, Todd? You getting in any funks?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't see how, I don't know. I mean, it's a struggle to put words to the wordless. Like what I was saying earlier, I mean, you mentioned about the past lives and such. I mean, the point I was actually making is they're no longer relevant. So Morgan and I have had extraordinary shared dimensional experiences, including apparitions or beings, translucent beings, and seeing things in each other, and many, 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 many just divine episodes all along the path. And they're relevant. I think that, it's activating memory, whatever you want to call it. But I think for me, there's, and there'll always be a part of me, just like, I mean, we're talking about eons and eons of experience that we all have, but I feel like that all of that stuff is great, but it's all losing its points of reference, just like the traumas that we had in this life that we learned from, and many other things, because all the focus is on what are you going to do right now. And so that's taken a beating too, because like both of you said, you start to do something and then you're 10 minutes into it and you're out of it. Are you not motivated? Or you're sitting on the couch staring at the ceiling for 2 hours. And I think for me, that there's a lot of self-talk for the last 6 months. Don't judge yourself. Have true compassion for yourself. This is relevant. What's happening? Life is relevant. And then getting to a point where I told Morgan today, I just was like, nothing's changing. It is Groundhog Day. And you're going to have the fantastic with the funk, right? But I'm going to try something else, and I'm just going to try to push through it and just, task. And I had a list of about 7 things, and I did 5. And but what I've discovered, and this is just today, right? I mean, I'm not saying this is the gospel, and I'm not saying it's the end all cure all, but it's still the funk and it's still the fantastic and the funk. The only difference is I'm trying to initiate some things to, from a physical standpoint, to, you can say what, to have a more enjoyable experience, to bring in higher alignment and that type of thing. But it is what it is today. And I do feel that I've always felt that this is a very special time, but who's to say that every time isn't a special time? And I've always felt like that there was something really big going on that feels innate, but I don't think, I guess for me, it's like, stop trying to think of what it is and just, get the most out of being in the present moment and functioning to the best of your abilities. I'm a big believer too, that we're creating the new code. We're not returning to original blueprint. We're not returning to the original DNA. We're actually taking that which was and adding the experience of our incarnations and creating new code. So, the expectations or projections of what I think it will be, whether it's my life, my relationship with Morgan, Soulology, or the world in general, the universe, whatever, I find that it's more of a detriment than it is productive. So here we go again with, how do you put words to the wordless?
Yeah, but I think our whole general theme is here staying in the moment. But, backing up for a second about what you said, I don't know how the hell you got to a list of like 7 things to do today. I can't even get one. I can't even remember half the stuff that I want to think about doing. And, it's like I have my own theatrical party. I'm like going to the sofa, going here, doing that, and then saying, okay, does it have to be so difficult? And sometimes I've actually said, you all make it so freaking difficult that I just want to give up sometimes. Like, why does this have to be so freaking difficult? It's like, can't you just answer me? I mean, can't you get a little louder? Can you have some little clarity with me? And then I'm like, oh, sorry, I guess I was getting a little bitchy there. It's ridiculousness sometimes. And I know that we're in a void, and I get it. And today is going to get me into tomorrow, because the alternative is not an option. Although occasionally I have said, what the hell am I even doing here? Well, that cliff is looking pretty good. Maybe there's something exciting over that cliff. But I realize that I have to stay in this body, and I just have to be fully present, and practicing being fully present can be work at times, although it can be natural for me, but it can also be work for me at times too. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I think it's really helpful. Part of me feels a little bit bad that I'm in this funk at the moment. The other part is, when I ring a girlfriend and say, oh my God, how are you going? And she says, I feel like shit. Oh my God, thank you. That's wonderful. It's almost like, the more we understand that we're not going through this alone, the more we understand that, it's not personal, it is collective, and yet it is personal as well, then we can go, okay, well, we're all going through this. I don't know. I don't guess that really even answered your question, but.
No, I get it. And that's the old saying, misery loves company, but nobody's trying to be miserable. We're just trying to be honest. And I work with a couple kids and that still have their memory. And I sit there and just listen to their stories about planets and language. And one child told me the guides are going to leave for a while, and you're going to have a substitute guide because they're going to be working on the grid with the U.S. military, and they're not going to come back until 5 more weeks. And then I look at the calendar, 5 more weeks is Christmas, and I'm like, this is sounding pretty familiar. So I keep trying to meet with them a little more often and think, okay, what else is happening? But I have to keep my energy extremely non-judgmental and neutral because they can read your energy. So if you're getting overly excited, they are children in a human body. So sometimes they'll, oh, let's see if we can't take her over here and tell her this story, which isn't even correct. So I have to reel myself in and reel them in, but it does give me some little points of hope. And I think we're all here to be a bridge for each other and be a hand for each other. And it's going to come together. I think we have a lot of separation and isolation. I'm in DC, born and raised here. You have to really leave DC and then come back to realize how toxic it is. So there's a lot of energy work I've had to do for a number of years being here. And, I'm done with this area and I'm ready to but I don't know where that is yet. So I feel like everything there's no direction about anything for anything. So I just keep going back to my work. And then I'm like, but I want to be busier with my work, like all day long. And it's like, no, you still have to do your work here. Because as soon as you finish that, you still have to look in the mirror and face this, And yeah, I thank God for a sense of humor. Lucy's got nothing on me. Nothing. You just have to laugh at yourself. Well, is there anything that you all would like to share to others that might be feeling sort of the way we're feeling? And then we can close there and let you get some dinner and you get your day on.
So
Go ahead, sweetheart. You go.
No, you go.
No, I'm not ready.
Okay, so clearly we don't have anything to share. And if you asked me 2 days ago when I was having this really great, clear, oh my goodness, okay, this is over, this is fantastic, I probably would have had something to say, but no, I don't have a clue. I'm clueless. I don't know how long this is going to go for, when it's going to end or whatever. And I guess we're all just doing the very best that we can, but we're not alone.
We're not alone. And that's a very honest response. And thank you for that.
So I would echo that. And I would say too, for myself that, the conscious, a real conscious, people use the term embodiment, but I find that it's a real human exercise to be conscious in my non-judgment of myself. Compassion isn't so hard for myself, but for others, I have to be very conscious about it. And I think the feelings of where it's almost like, so what? I'm nothing. These really, really bare bones feelings. I mean, I think for me anyway, a lot of times when those things will come in, you start judging yourself. Why am I not getting more done? Why haven't I achieved this? Or why? And these sound like very human things, but to me, like you said, you still got to, given all the things that happen, you still got to come back and you got to look at yourself. So, I tell this story over and over, like, when I woke up 10, 11 years ago, everything was I am soul. And it still is for me. But then I met Morgan, and although I was very organic and she's obviously very galactic, she had an insight into the journey or the mission or the experience of being human. And so I learned in interfacing with her that I really can't be the I am soul until I am human. And so I just have a very high level of reverence that expands for the human. I think we've done a hell of a job. I think we're a true representative of multidimensionality. And I feel like that we're writing some serious cosmic history. And if we're not, and it's all just a bunch of bullshit, and we're just a star up there humming and illuminated, I'm still going to live my life that way. Mm-hmm. Because, I've always told myself at the end of the day, how do I know, or how do I not know that what I think isn't actually what happens? To the extent well beyond my own personal experience, even what I think of the world. If I think the world is shit, then the world's going to be shit. If I think that, you know, I'm optimistic and positive and constructive, and continue to do what I can to expand my heart, which is you know, I think something we're all kind of born with, that heart-centered intelligence. And then over time, you know, people that are in our age group, I'm not trying to say y'all are as old as me, but people that have been around a while, you got the conditioning, we got hardened a little bit, even if we didn't see it or we were unconscious. I think that's making a comeback, but it's making a comeback through concerted, embodied human effort. It doesn't have to be painful and doesn't have to be grueling, but there's no shortcuts there. So when I talk about, for myself, not judging myself, I've been like on this full court press since July, and it's become a part of my conscious existence, the self-talk, and it's you think that it's going to get easier and better. But I think that's, for me anyway, that part of it is what actually holds me back, because it's still taking me out of this moment. And I'm focusing on, oh, well, when this happens, or, you know, that same old game. So to me, it's like coming full circle and just getting into our, you know, being the human aspect in its own multidimensionality, in ways that I never thought before, because it's so weird, because to me, there's like a relationship between the most basic human only functions of thought, speaking, and action, and the magic that is in the unknown part of us. So it's really weird, because it's like an inverse relationship with a direct line. It's like every time I can go deeper in my human, which is a no BS zone, then some magic starts happening. But I by no means have the formula, and I don't see anyone else that does.
All right, well, the show's over. I thought you'd have the formula.
No.
Well, you know, if thought creates your reality and you don't like your reality, then recreate your thoughts and have more Q&As with yourself until you can develop that. And, you know, the saying is, everywhere you go, there you are. And if you don't like where you are and where you're going, then change that as well. But nothing can come to fruition about anything if you don't get grounded and stay in that very moment and really observe and look at things around you as they are, and allow your feelings and things to process through and feed back the information that you might need to get to the next step. That's kind of my thought on that. Well, this has been fun. Morgan, did you have anything else you want to add, or you just want to like, yeah, go get your tea and look out the window?
I want to do what you're about to do and rip the face off and put some pajamas on and just...
Oh, that's definitely what I'm going to be doing. Contacts out, face washed, I'm done. I'm cooked usually by 8 o'clock anyway. But I really appreciate you all organizing your time and joining. And for those of you, please tune in to Todd and to Morgan on SOULOGY ONE Studios. You're on Facebook and then also YouTube. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you do a lot of lives. Is that correct?
We do a few. On
both. Okay. Well, anyway, he always has very interesting guests on his show. And it's nice to, you know, I don't listen that often because I really don't follow a lot of people, because honestly, I want to get direct messaging without a lot of input, but I'm also at a place where I can be semi-neutral to just what I'm hearing as that's just information, you know, because I don't have all the answers either. Darn it. Damn it. That's what I'm saying. Come on, you guys, it's got to get to work. All right. Well, it's been wonderful. Enjoy. And hopefully, I mean, I'm okay without taste buds. Unfortunately, it's just not stopping me from eating. I'm just not enjoying a doggone thing about it, which is why I went and bought a cake today. I mean, you know, hello, it's, and I'm the only one that will eat it. So it's either that or throw it out. All right, you guys. Well, much love to you. And maybe we'll do this again sometime. And yeah, blessings. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra.
All right.
You take care.
You too.